Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Trade Ideas Pre-Market Show for Friday, May the 22nd. My name is Barry Anderson, moderator of your trading room. Thank you, guys, in our main room. Thank you, Pepe. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, so live in both rooms right now. Now, today's a short day for me. I have to take off probably, well, when Andy takes over for me and on YouTube, I have to take off. So I won't be here in the afternoon. So there's that. And of course, Monday's a market holiday. So what is happening this morning? PCLA. First of all, the market is mini rip mode. We're up 3.7 points on the SPY. So it is looking happy this morning. PCLA. So this one is not an earnings play. Japanese stock. I'm just looking to see if there's any news on this one. I do not see any news. Don't see any news today anyway on it. AKTX. Okay, well, this one I've seen this one. We've seen this one many times before. Big day yesterday, actually, a huge day yesterday. Look what happened. Went from 3, and it closed right at the high of the day, 511. And now look at this, another $5 pop, and that's for AKTX. Just going to see if there's any news on this one. I don't think it's an earnings play. Initiates. Excuse me. So this was yesterday's news, initiating IND enabling studies, phase 1 trial. Okay, I mean, there must be some more news today. Gains on positive preclinical data for cancer therapy. So that is AKTX, guys. Crazy low float, right? 780,000. Very, very, very low float. Where could this go? So the next highs on the weekly chart look like the next highs are around 1133. Probably got up there a little bit above that in the pre-market, and that's for the AKTX. So if you look at the weekly chart, the next high is 1124. So it's about $1 below that right now, but it did get above that in the pre-market. So the news on this one, LFS, however you pronounce that, Lafris to acquire Tokai Sports as a Japanese company, okay, to expand market leadership and accelerate LTV growth. Pretty old company, actually, 2001. So that's LFS, guys. Now, LFS, again, looking left on the weekly chart, looks like there's decent resistance around the $4 level. So it's getting a little close to that. BJ's Wholesale Club Holdings. This is an earnings play, and it is moving down on earnings, guys. So just looking at this one, I don't know if you even saw this one, William, if it's a miss lower. And that is BJ. And the next low looking left on a daily chart, well, it's below that. On the weekly chart, the next lows are kind of right there. You know, we have 2 lows, maybe 3 lows right around the 90.40 mark, and it's at 90.49 right now. And that is earnings play for BJ's Wholesale Club Holdings. GOVX is still in the news, guys. Well, They started off as okay, we have something to do with Ebola. Popped up that day up to 442, closed down here at 2, but it's continuing. HCWB is still alive here, guys. So it had a huge day 2 days ago, got up to $4, closed at 240, got above that high yesterday and stayed above that high yesterday, or that close, and now is moving again, and that is HCWB. All right, let's take a look at a disaster here, okay? FUTG, wow. So this is FUTG. Oh, okay, this is a long for FUTU. So FUTU, the stock must be down at least 35%. 37%, okay. Wow. Trying to see if there's any news on this one. Has earnings coming up on the 28th. I don't see any news on this one. It is kind of a crypto play, but let me yeah, I'm just trying to find any news on this one. I keep seeing this Mumu expands crypto trading to Texas and launches direct crypto transfers. I don't know if that's in competition with this FUTU, because I keep seeing this headline when I'm looking at for the FUTU news, and so I don't know. I don't know enough about this company. I mean, visualized financial services. So I don't know if this is real. Oh, here we go. Well, okay. Well, actually, they own Mumu. Okay, so FUTU owns Mumu. FUTU's Mumu expands crypto trading to Texas. For some reason, that is causing this stock to plummet. So I don't know if anybody has had a chance to analyze this. I mean, the volume is huge. And this is FUTU. So it's more okay. It's more about. Thank you, Marvin. It's more about what China is trying to do. So I want to see what KWeb has anything to do with KWeb. Well, I mean, look at that. So KWeb, the China ETF that I look at anyway, is down almost 5%. So Tiger, yeah, Tiger, man, it used to be a high, way higher. Man, look at this. So that's the reason. Okay, thanks for that. So down massively pre-market on this news. China's CSRC cracks down on quote unquote illegal cross-border securities, futures, and fund business activities. So that is really affecting FUTU and Tiger, of course, but FUTU, wow. Okay. Yeah, it's even here. You're right. It's right there. Tiger drops 35% after China regulator moves to shut down core business. Wow. And I see the news when I look at Interactive Brokers, I see the news for Tiger, and it's obviously FUTU also. Of course, it's FUTU also. Okay, so I see what I had to do. I had to scroll back a little bit further. Okay, I just had to because I was surprised that Interactive Brokers would not have this news. So okay, so yeah, I don't know if that hit right at 7 o'clock. No, 6:30. Well, that is ugly. Morning, Shaw, in our YouTube room. Well, what's RGTI going to do today? RGTI going to do today after the big move yesterday? Still another nice move today. Again, and wow, through the 200-day moving average, or right at the 200-day moving average right now, guys. That is sort of the RGTI, right at it. Again, this is benefiting from government putting a couple of $1 billion into the quants, $1 billion into IBM, and I can't remember how much. It was 100 million. Can't remember though if this is an investment, like literally an investment, like buying stock, sort of like the Intel. At any rate, it's above the 200-day moving average now. This is getting hammered also. NGEN is getting hammered down 39% after the company announced. Okay, so they're going to do a financing. So it's at 250, so it's a little bit below. They're going to raise $60 million at $2.50. It's a little bit below the financing price. So AKAN is up 21%. It's had a pullback though. It was up to 33 and I got all the way back down to 27. So that's a pretty severe pullback. Is there any news in this one? It was a pretty good day yesterday, and we're still trying. At one point, it did get through the 200-day moving average in the pre-market. Unfortunately, I do not see any news on this one. Let's see if this has anything. No. I finally found a way to pop out the chat in StreamYard or in YouTube. Okay, guys. Let's see now. Well, my little gem is still gemming along. DXYZ. Unlike Steve, I did not take any. He sold some of his DXYZ at $60 yesterday. Not me. I'm talking about Steve Gomez. All right, what's sort of okay? BIYA. Just looking for some of the stocks that have won some races. Okay, this one is now charging over $1 right now. BIYA. The next high looking left. Got room, guys. Yeah, I mean it's got some room. We had to remember this day got up to 139, but it closed down here at 91 cents. suffered for the following 4 days, resurging today a bit, and that's the BIYA. All right, so BIA International announces the ARC plan, renamed to Binance plan. Okay, market is still surging here, guys. There's been no pullback yet. The SPY is still over the 200 or the VWAP. Okay, so still kind of surging a bit here. INFQ, guys, INFQ. This was another big one from yesterday. INFQ didn't close near the high, but it's above the high. Above the It's above the high now. I'm sorry, it did not. It closed down here. What did it get up to? Got up to about $16. Closed down here at 1473. So of course, it's above the close, but it's also above the high of yesterday, and that is INFQ. And looking left, this is what was so attractive about it yesterday. When you look left on the weekly chart, still has a lot of room, over $3 to that next high. Again, I'm not saying it's going to get there, but it does have $3 to the next high in the weekly chart. W Day, okay. William is saying that these are three companies that had a beat raise. Expensive and fading. And Ross Stores or something. Another expensive one. Choppy. Look how choppy that is on a 5-minute. What was the other one? ZM. Yeah, all these expensive stocks are, releasing earnings today. Some of the expensive stocks are releasing earnings today. So Zoom, I haven't seen Zoom, heard of Zoom for a long time now. Yeah, you mean ahead of time. You're talking about that day right there, May the 7th. Actually, I got it on May the 7th, but yeah, I mean it was surging, the day before. Then all of a sudden on that day, they had the big drop from 167 down to 143. So, conjectures is that maybe somebody knew this was going to happen. Their government was going to. That's about 2 weeks ago. Anyway, will FUTU have any sort of? I mean, it's had a nice bounce. It's had a great bounce, 74 to 81 off the lows this morning. Morning 4 a.m. in our YouTube room. So MDLN, guys, is now sitting on the VWAP. Okay, MDLN sitting on the VWAP. Big float. I guess they did a financing. 72 million shares at 73. Boy, they're raising a lot of money. A lot of money. 72 million shares at $37 a share. Okay, I'm just looking to see if there's anything else in here that I haven't covered or taken a look at. I've expanded this from the top 6 to the top 10. The problem is now I can't see what that one is. Oh, that's the MRM. Okay. Yeah, but so here's a way, FUTG. So if you thought that FUTU was going to have any sort of a bounce, which it's having, you could buy this one. You get double the move. And it's super cheap. Super cheap. Lots of, well, yeah, a lot of volume. Plenty of volume. So if you thought FUTU, the stock, was going to start to recover somewhat, which it has, of course, this has gone from 189 to 240. This is moving. So this, again, this is a 2-time long for FUTU and super cheap. The other one that was very active yesterday, but it never really totally broke out over that 4 level. It was the QUCY. I mean, it got up to 486, but look what it did. It closed down here at 351. It broke out and then it came back and then it hovered around that 4 level for a long, long time. Kept waiting for it to maybe break out again. It just didn't do it. But I'm, I've got I think I have my price alert. Yeah, I've got my price alert set around the 420 mark. See if it happens this morning or sometime today. Now, remember, I'm taking off at about, noon. I'll be taking off at noon. Andy will take over for me in our YouTube room, and then he'll have to shut YouTube down, and I will have gone. So, Obi, I'm sure you're not going to keep this room open. Well, you'll probably keep it open later than noon Eastern, but Xanadu, XNDU, okay? The quant guys, so the quants are alive, of course, after yesterday's news. I don't think they're getting any funding, but they're being it was tugged along by the quant news. It's a big move, actually. I mean, 1167 and it closed right near the high of the day. That was for XNDU yesterday. Xanadu quantum shares rise on new method aimed at easing quantum computing bottlenecks. All right. You guys been talking about Spotify. Not an earnings play, is it? Not an earnings play. Wow, Spotify. Wow. No kidding. What a move. Why? Following investor day event, okay, climbs 13% after that must have been yesterday. Yeah, yesterday after investor day event. Oh, so is there an ETF for Spotify? A little too expensive for me, $500. Wonder if there's an ETF for Spotify. No volume though. I mean, look, no volume, 22,000 shares. So I think this was the maybe not the first, but one of the had name recognition. Of course, Spotify, people knew what it was. That went direct. It was a direct listing, bypassing the brokers or bypassing the Goldman Sachs and the Morgan Stanleys, et cetera, the investment brokers to go public. So this was an IPO. It was a direct listing. I think it was one of the first ones that had any name recognition. I think it came out around the 160 mark or got to 160 that first day. Boy, it's a long time ago. See, the memory's still intact. Yeah, it was 161, and this was back in April of 2018. Boy, time flies. That's amazing. That's 2018 that this happened in April. So over 8 years ago. All right, guys. Well, 9:25, so another 5 minutes or so before the 9:30 open. How's NVIDIA doing today? Yeah, basically flat again. Oh, for some reason I got rid of or I did not save something. Just give me a moment, okay? All right, guys. So here are the sectors to start the day, okay? 4 minutes before the 9:30 open. No, I can't really do it. I never really found a way to use it, okay? But there is, if you go to the anchored, click on new and then dock channel bar, there is the channel down here and there is some explanation about it, okay? Where is it? Anchored VWAP, okay? Click on that and here's some explanation about it, okay? I don't use it, okay? I never use it, so I can't help you. Sorry. But here, if you go to the channel, at least you get, a short video demonstration, okay? So the nukes and what is the quant one? I can't remember what the quant ETF is. Anyway, the nukes and uranium, the top sector right now, but again, hardly any volume probably. Yeah, 1,800 shares. Semis are up. Everything is up except silver. Silver is down a little bit, and oil is kind of flat. Okay, so that's ahead of the open, 9:30 open. All right, guys, we've got about a minute to the 9:30 open, so let's have a great end to this trading week. First day, well, welcome, Saeed. First day as a Trade Idea subscriber or first day into the room? Okay, guys, so keep an eye on the SPY here, and there's the VWAP right there. Let's see if it can hold it. Boy, yeah, wow. FUTU had the big move up, but boy, the big move down now. So again, this is a way to play it, but there's the move down in the stock. There's the move down in the two-time ETF for it. Okay, guys, we are now open. Now, I typically do not trade in the first 15 minutes. How do you see the other room? Okay, let me just give you the link for it. 4 a.m. Question was how to get into the what I call the main TI room, Trade Ideas room. Okay, so this is for 4 a.m. in our YouTube room. So if you click on the link that I just put in and scroll down a little bit, and here it is, the trading room. It's free also. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. There's how to get in. Okay, guys. So this is going to be very now. Here's the again. This is the way. If you really thought FUTU, well, you can play it all day if you want, I suppose. But FUTU is going to be very active, of course. It is still down. The stock is still down 32%. For whatever reason, Peloton's having a bit of a pop here. PTON having a bit of a pop on some volume coming in. Here's another one of the D-Wave. That's the one I was thinking about yesterday too. The QBTS that was mentioned in the $2 billion. I don't know how much they're getting, but QBTS, huge day. I mean, a great day. Look what it did. I mean, I always think a great day to me is a stock that closed right at the high of the day, and that's what it did. Had no pull. We might have had pullbacks within, but certainly by the end of the day, it was right at the high. It closed at the high of the day, and so here we are. QBTS continues to move. Wow. I mean, be careful on this. I mean, this FUTU is just. Look at that big down bar and now a big up bar on the FUTG. Well, I mentioned the INFQ, but it's just, I don't like trading in the first 15 minutes, but here it goes. Here it goes. See, this was not as good as say QBTS. Why? Well, it got up to 1613, but it closed down here at 1475. I mean, the QBTS closed right at the high of the day. You were long Reddit yesterday, weren't you, William? Didn't you attempt to trade Reddit yesterday, RDDT? Okay, guys, I'm just looking at some of the ones that are, well, here's the PCLA. This one was very active in the pre-market. It's still up almost 200%. Massive pop. I don't think I could see any news on it. I mean, yeah, I don't see any specific news on it today. This is back in April. They showcased their wireless mesh technology, but I mean, that was back in April. What a move. Big move yesterday. I mean, $1.44 closed at 230, but this, this move is way bigger than the move of yesterday, like way bigger. Not shortable for me at Interactive Brokers. Not only will they not try to find, boom, not available for short sale. Well, we've had a couple of, well, we had a news halt at, well, that was 8:55, but here's a volatility halt for AIDX, but actually it's on the way down. Okay, I thought it might have been one of these ones. Wow, DXYZ. Sorry, guys. Of course, I have this thumbnailed. I wonder if there's any more news as to if there's a specific date for the IPO for SpaceX. So the high over here is 70. Well, actually, it's above that. The high right there is 67. I guess the all-time high. No, maybe not. No, the all-time high looks up here around 76.99. Go, baby, go. Yes. It's interesting because the other one that I was looking at potentially buying was the XOVR, but it's nowhere near. I don't know what well, it doesn't have a float. It's an ETF. Good volume though. And this has some stake in that SpaceX, but compared to the DXYZ, it's pales. Boy, this one is continuing to go move here, guys. So on the monthly chart, the next high is 32. On the weekly chart, the next high about 31.30. So there is a little bit of room for this one to keep running. Actually, I'm wrong. The next high on the weekly chart, excuse me, is at 28.48. So it's at 28, a little over 28 right now. Pinterest, guys. So the next high on the daily chart is too close, of course, 1926. But if it can get through 1926, I'm going to put a price alert on that area, see if it can get through that, because then the next high is around 2041. Okay, guys, I'm just looking at a couple of our AI alerts. Now, I don't think there's any way you could got into LFS at the alert price. However, it is it just jumped way too quickly. Boy, FUTU, what a, I mean, guys, what a bounce off that bottom. I mean, even if you just trade the stock, I mean, the low in the pre-market was just over 74. So we've had a $14, $15 bounce now for FUTU. Well, nothing's stopping QBTS right now, guys. Really, I mean, this is the next high in the monthly chart is 32.41. So there is still room. I'm not saying to take the trade right now. But if you're in the trade, actually, I was wrong. That's right. It 28.48 was and it broke through that weekly high. So right here is at 31.36. I'm just saying if you're in the trade now, you don't have too much to worry about in terms of chart resistance. Now, profit taking, sure. Well, I kind of this VICI. Now the problem is looking left, and 28.72 is the next high. Okay, let's see if it can get to that level. Okay, because if it can, then the next high is not that far away. Okay, I thought it was far. It looked further away, but that's still only 29. So I'm going to forget about that one. VICI. Well, this one's got a little bit of room, but not a ton of room. UMC, okay, 1847, little bit of room, about 30 cents to that high. That makes it, I'm not that in love with it. Well, guys, I told you if it hits 200, I'm out of here. Okay. I saw some something about Elf this morning. Okay, yeah. What were they going to be doing? Who were they going to be taking over or buying or? Hey, look, I got super lucky on it. Okay, unusual. I mean, it was just a wild swing at something like this based on what I read. Hmm. So was Estee Lauder? Yeah, I didn't. I was wrong when you said Elf. I said I thought I read, but it was Estee Lauder that I read something about this morning. So this one's kind of lagging, even though it's got quantum in the name. Okay, quantum in the name, but it's kind of lagging the rest of them. I don't think they were. I don't think this was one of the companies that was in the list. Yeah, I guess it's not a pure quantum play, even though I mean it's. But a lot of people may not know that. Are they just looking in and say, "Wow, quantum core lagging? Let's buy it." Okay, VICI said, yeah, but it didn't have enough room. All right, 29. It's too close. Yeah, too close. Okay, guys, I do see that INFQ is from our AI. It could be interesting. I mean, it's obviously a lot of activity around it right now. The next high is 1922 on the weekly chart, so there is some room. It's basically right at the alert price. Boy, well, if anybody stuck with the FUTG, you did really well. You did really well. That was the worrying thing for me right there. I thought, okay, well, that was the nice recovery for that. Then it was going to be over. And then you had the huge red bar down, but just completely wiped that out the next bar and on the way. So that is FUTU back to 90. Yeah, it's too bad. I'm getting some of these alerts but I'm just seeing when I click on it, I'm just seeing the next high on a daily or a weekly is too close, so I can't take these trades. All right, how about this guy, Hewlett Packard or HP Inc. Sorry, not Hewlett Packard, HP Inc. This is now through the 200-day moving average and holding over that 24 mark. And what sort of room does it have? 2365. So the next high in a weekly chart is 2503. So it's got about $1 to the next high on the weekly chart. So a little bit of room on the weekly chart. Okay, NVTS guys, a little bit of a pullback, maybe into the VWAP. Okay, had a decent day yesterday. Actually, it had a nice 3-day run. A continuation coming into the VWAP. Let's see if it can hold 26. This is, it's a lifetime high. Okay, so this could be very interesting if it holds the VWAP, holds that whole number of 26, and then because what did it get to this morning? Got up to 2685. So I'd be watching NVTS right around this level to see if it really holds. The VWAP is, call it 26, okay, 2589, 25. Depends if you're using pre-market data or not. This is using pre-market data, so it's right around 26. And that's the NVTS. Hey guys, I'm continuing to watch this NVTS to see if it holds 26. I'll take a look. You asked me, who asked me something about a IMRX. Just let me, I like this NVTS. I think it's just got to clear up to get up to this, maybe this 20 level, get into the 20s. We want to burst into this 50 level maybe for the NVTS. Okay, thumbnails, other chart, other monitor. So what you're asking about? What IMRX, IMRX, IMRX? Well, obviously had two good days, better day today through the 200-day moving average. Any news on it? So this was news after hours yesterday. Okay, so some positive news about their drug. That's my. So I mean, obviously that's why it is popping. Yes, got into the 50s. Got into the 50s. NVTS. Now I've taken some off, guys. It touched the VWAP, but it's getting a little parabolic for me. So I've taken some off of the NVTS. Just a matter of waiting for that break, that holding of 26. Hmm. So NVTS, trying to see where I found it. It wasn't. I don't think it was in here. It should be. I would have thought. I mean, it's one of the. It's certainly a low, high float, high market cap. Ah, I'm sure it'd be showing up now because now it's. I want to open this top list. Hmm. Not. I'm surprised it's not showing up here. Are you taking a look at Dan's stuff? I mean, that's where I actually found it. But I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot coming at you. I don't know how you would use it. I don't know how you would use it. Because there's so much coming at you. Even I know you were trying to figure out a way to get it working in the simulator, but so NVTS, why for me? Well, all-time high. It was holding 26, 26. It's getting so parabolic. I mean, what I call parabolic, you see the wave, you see the TI wave there. See how fat it is right now, and the bottom of the bar is not touching the top. And we're getting there's no resistance. I mean, it's an all-time high, so there's no chart resistance. All right, ACHR. Aussie, are you in the room? Calling all Aussies. Well, not all Aussies, but just the Aussie in the room. There it is. Okay. Okay, guys. Now I may have to leave for about 5 minutes. In about 5 minutes. Okay. what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly go over my home page before I have to leave for a bit. I was wondering if you had, took a look at those scans from Dan. I mean, there's so many symbols coming through. I did find the NVTS there, but out of many. So I was thinking, even if you were able to connect it, how would you do it? You're probably going to have to fine tune it more. Anyway, no, that's what I mean, though. If you could connect, well, NVTS guys, this is giving me way more than I thought. Whoa. Okay, guys, I'm going to quickly do this. Okay, go over my homepage, click on my homepage link. So we've got 2 promo codes going right now. So if you're willing to take out a premium annual subscription, you can get 28% off. Okay. Otherwise, you can get 22% off the 2 monthly subscriptions and the annual standard subscription. Okay. So if you have any questions about this, again, the 28% is only good if you take out a premium annual. I don't know if you're kidding, Dan, or no. Otherwise, why would anybody take out I think you're just kidding, right? Why would anybody take out a yearly? Okay, all I ask is this, guys. If you take out a subscription, please use my promo code, whatever it is. It'll change from time to time. Why? Company tracks the use of these promo codes. So if they see my code being used enough, they don't mind keeping the 2 rooms free. I moderate a YouTube room and also the trading room. So if you're sitting in YouTube wondering about this room right here, way more activity in this room. It's also open at 6:45 a.m. Eastern time. Thank you, Obi. He does it. I live in Vancouver. I can't do it. So Obi does it at 6:45 a.m. Eastern time. So again, if you're looking for a pre-market room, come in here. It's free. And I get on the mic, both rooms around sometime between 9 and 9:15, all times Eastern. And I go to, not today. I have to take off probably around noon, 12:15 today for good. But I usually go to about 2 o'clock. And then after, now I doubt very much Obi's going to keep the room open that much more after I leave. If you keep scrolling down, keep it simple. Get the trade of the week. It's free. You'll get it before the market opens every Monday morning. Education. Click on the more info. First thing you do if you take out a subscription, you must do this, mandatory. Getting started with trade ideas. 12 short videos to get you started. Don't have the program but wondering about it. Start off with that second video. Go to the end. Should give you an idea about whether or not something is something you might want to try. And always try us for a month. If you don't like it, just let us know and we'll unsubscribe you. Back to basics, new to trading, this is for you, 15 free videos. And last, if you're looking for my scans, here they are. Click on the view scans. So here are the 2 races, the large cap race and the volatile race right here. And here's the House resumes, not that active this morning. What I use in the pre-market active is up and down. And I have some other scans that I'm currently sharing you can take a look at, okay? Well, yeah, but the whole reason, yeah, I have to go. But the whole reason for a yearly, obviously, you've got to come up with the money up front, and but it's a cheaper way if you got the money up front of having your monthly cost less. Otherwise, why would anybody take out a yearly if you could just pay, take out a yearly and pay on a monthly basis? Well, I don't know. Okay, I have to leave. I do not know what's happening when you're talking about it. It's got maybe some kind of an accounting. All I know is that in theory, you've got to pay up front, and that's it. And that for the whole year. And then your per monthly cost, of course, is less. But you've got to pay up front. You've got to have the cash up front. Okay, guys, just give me a moment. Okay. All right, guys. So I haven't quite left. Okay, let's see now. Excuse me. So using the wave, the last winner was NVTS. Okay, so using the wave to keep me in this trade. I mean, it's hard because it's gone so parabolic. I mean, I've taken some off. Okay, I have taken some off, but I'm not going to get out of the remain. Even though it is definitely parabolic. I want that wave to catch up. Look at that 15. Look how it's just completely lost touch. Okay, so the SPY is giving a little bit up here now through the VWAP now, through the VWAP. Okay, we're starting to get a little bit of a sell-off. Can I, two box in our YouTube room, can I freeze the scanner so it always displays scans data from one specific past trading day instead of live data? Well, you can do it with an alert window. You can go, so here's an alert window, right? So if I go history, I can pick whatever day I want. Well, not within reason. Okay, just using the calendar, the time frame. See what I'm doing? You can pick a time. You can pick a day that you want to see the alerts, I suppose. Okay, so that's on an alert window. So two box. You see what I did? So if you right click in your alert window, and then go to history, and then you could do yesterday, or you could pick the time frame and just on the calendar figure out what day you want. Okay. Okay. Does that work for you? Just let me know, okay? So I can move on, or if I have to explain it again, that's okay. If I have to explain it again, just let me know though, okay? I just want to be able to move on. Can you hear me? Boy, what does NVTS do? Development of ultra-efficient gallium nitride semiconductors. Okay. Well, that's what they do. Had no idea. Didn't really care. All I cared about was the fact it was an all-time high and it was really ripping. I think you're going to, that's okay. A top list window can be frozen. You can probably, yeah, I don't know if you can do that. Okay. I've never had that question, two box. Let me just see something here. I'll bring up a top list window. So for instance, if I want to take this top list window and go to the time frame and use historical date, I could, now you can go back. So if you were looking, say, to see what the end of the day was yesterday, what are we now? 5:22. So you go to the calendar, so 21. So here you can freeze it at 10:10 a.m. yesterday, but obviously that's not necessarily what you want to do. No APIs, no, does not allow APIs. Okay, so you could freeze it at 4 p.m. and post-market change. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, you can certainly do the change during the day, as long as you have the column header. You could put, so if I put 4 p.m. right here, maybe you can do it in the post-market. I don't know. I never tried. But you see what I did though, okay? Yeah, but it won't automatically update. No, if you're looking for this to, you can freeze it and then if you're asking it to automatically update, no, that's not going to happen. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not going to, somehow it's not going to automatically update to today. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You could put a column here, post-market change. Absolutely. But then if you're asking it for, today to start triggering somehow automatically, no. Never had that question though. The moment. You might want to send something to info trade-ideas.com. Maybe one of the other traders will have an idea. Okay. I certainly don't. I've never had that question before. But off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but who knows? Maybe Chris or somebody else might have an idea for you, two box. Okay. So guys, I do have to leave right now for a bit. So give me a moment. Let me get it better up here. Okay, guys. So I'm muting myself for a while. Okay. freeze Perry, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted to be able to go back, pick a certain time, maybe at the end of the day, yesterday or post market. Yeah, freeze there, but you pick a time, and then somehow have it miraculously start to run on its own. How do you change the time in the race? Okay. Well, I'm going to go over the race. I cannot. This has just turned out to be a, this is a great trade, guys. What can I say? NVTS. What's the float like? It's a big float too, 172 million in the float. So it's not like this is a low float situation. And I don't see they had any specific news on it today. Okay, how do you change the time in the race? Okay, first of all, I'm going to look at this race right here. Okay, I'm going to go over this race in more detail, but just to show you. So I'm going to duplicate the race because I don't want to stop it. So if you've taken my race, or you have, trying to do your own race, but if you've taken one of these two races from me, you stop the race by clicking the box. That'll stop the race, okay? And then you right click once it's stopped into the body of the race. At the very top, it says show race setup. And here's how you can change the time, okay? Obviously, I'm running a 4-minute race, but whatever time frame you want, you can put it right up there in the minutes to run. Okay, 1989. Okay. Just want to make sure I know what time you asked that question. 9:29. So 2 minutes ago, you should still be in the room, right? Oh, 4 a.m. Okay, cool. So you saw what I did? Alejandro Velas Gaze. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering your last name, but Alejandro, I think I got that. Not bad. At least I didn't say Alejandro. Anyway, you understand how to do that now, right? Okay, good. And you can do things like this. You see, I've got auto start on load. When you load it from my homepage, if you're taking it from my homepage, it actually is auto start at time that I used to have. That's what I used to do. And because I didn't want to see it in the pre-market, I do now. To answer your question, Dragon, yes. I'm just explaining that right now. You can auto start on whatever time you load trade ideas, it'll start. Okay. So if you load it in the pre-market, it'll start and it'll run all the way to the end, post-market also. Okay. So it's just a matter of checking auto start on load. But again, when you load it from my home page, I used to have it on auto start at time at 9:30, but I've changed that just to and I've checked auto start at load. So whenever I load trade ideas, it's going to start running. Okay. Meanwhile, FUTU, I mean, just some startling moves today, guys, of more expensive stocks. No, you just have to listen, Blizzardo. I mean, the NVTS I've been in since the 2026 break. Okay, I start talking about a stock, but if I really like it, I was talking about this NVTS. I looked left. I said, wow, all-time high right now. I was watching to see how well it held 26, right down on this level here. It got over the VWAP, had all sorts of room. Then it's up to you. If you want to take the trade, go ahead. If you don't like what I'm, the same thing I'm seeing, then you don't take the trade. But that's how I kind of, because I'm not ever going to tell somebody, okay, everybody should be in this NVTS. have to be careful what I say, and I'm not an investment advisor. So, but I've taken some off of it, but I've still got, I don't know where this is going. I mean, it's an all-time high, so there's no chart resistance. Only thing stopping it now is people taking profit. That's it. That's my only trade of the day. But as they say, it was a doozy. Okay, guys, I'm going to go over this race right here and the concept of racing. Okay, so I'm going to first of all direct you to my home page. Okay, so if you click on the education section, click on the more info, and at the top is the user guide. And when you do that, TI stock racing, okay, TI stock racing. So all the information I'm going to talk about is right here. A whole section unto its own in the user guide. So racing. So it's an interesting concept, I think. It automatically creates a top 10 list for you of stocks you can watch all day long. You can see I've got two different races going, two different top lists or two different top 10 lists. But what does it do? Well, we're only 9 seconds from the end of this race. So since this race started, BTQ has moved 5%. That's what that 5% means. And it's obviously going to win this last race. And there it is right at the top, won the last race. And you can see what happens is that the top 10 list is built up over the stocks that have won the most races over the course of the day. So LFS has won 6 races, PCLA 6 races, etc. In this race, HPQ 3 races. So how to use it? Well, a couple things. First of all, you don't have to wait for a race to be over for you to click on the symbol. Now, and you can see that the race just kind of started. So there's NVTS. It's up 1.4%. Not a huge move or anything like that. But, this is interesting here, guys, because in this race here, we don't often get stocks that have moved 1%. I'll explain that later. And there's the RGTI as an example. This is a race here that you'll see some big percentage moves. You can see some big percentage moves, 5%, 10% right now. So here's the FABC. There's a 2.4% move. So here's what you should do. Click on it. You don't have to wait for the race to be over in order for you to click on it. You can see what's happening. I mean, this is just ripping right now. Now, I'm not saying that you don't necessarily take the trade right now, but now you're aware that this is happening. And what you might do, it's for me, it's just, this is an IPO, I guess, back here, or a symbol name change. Position in the day's range. So I guess that must be the high. But you might wait for a pullback. Okay. You might look at this and go, you know what? I like this. It's a strong stock, obviously. It's decent volume, not great volume, but decent volume. You might wait for a pullback. So maybe if you have a moving average or something on your chart that you like to see a stock pull back to, the VWAP is obviously a pretty good one. There's the purple line on my chart. Maybe you put a price alert just a little bit above it to see whether or not it pulls back into it. And then you don't have to watch it anymore. You just wait to see if it happens. Okay. That's an idea. Okay. That's an idea. Here's Highline, 3% move, another, these are obviously with the market up today, though the market is, the market actually had a bit of a downturn, but it's starting to recover, but still underneath the VWAP. But most of these stocks don't really care that much about what the overall market's doing. These are, what we call stocks basically trading on their own, not caring that much about what the overall market's doing, not caring probably at all what its individual sector is doing. Okay. So here's another one. This would have been a little interesting, kind of breaking out. It's a high of the day, new high of the day, but it was kind of breaking out a little bit. It wasn't quite what I would call a chase. But again, all sorts of different trading styles. You have to figure out what makes sense to you. Here's the FJET, okay, 3.69%. So you can see, I mean, it's like any other race, you know, there's going to be a jockeying for position at the top, and eventually there will be a winner. You wouldn't necessarily always just have to click on the ones at the top. Click on Adam, see what's happening. You know, you don't know what's happening until you click on it. You might click on it and go, wow, that's a great looking chart. So why are these stocks showing up though? So if I right click in this race and open the top list. Okay, I'm going to open the top list. All races start from a top list window. Notice if I right click in this top list window, launch real-time stock race is an option. So why are these stocks showing up? That's because in this top list window, this is what I want to see. So I've clicked on the configure and then the summary. So this is what I want to see. You know, stocks between $1 and $50, 200,000 shares minimum have traded and up 2% from yesterday's close minimum. That's what I want to see. You don't have to see the same thing. You know, you can create your own top list window or you know, take this race and you can adjust. Maybe you don't like that price range. Maybe you want to have more volume. Maybe you want to add it if you have any trading experience at all. Maybe you want to add a filter in. Okay, so there's, you know, this is what I want to see. It doesn't have to be what you want to see. Now, you can still use a top list like this. I mean, the before we had races, this is how a person would use a top list window. Let's say you wanted to see, show me the stocks that are up the most today. So as long as you have the column header, which I do, the change from the close, that's that C%, I can double left click on it and I'll sort. So based on my filters, my price range, my minimum volume, etc., RYOJ is up 41%. Are there stocks up more than 41%? Of course. You know, probably some stocks under $1 or different price range. Okay. Or maybe even you're using less volume. But with my filters in place, these are the stocks that are up the most. So, you know, here are the ones that have changed the most since the opening trade of the day. You know, FJET has moved 28% since its first trade of the day. So you can still use top lists, you know, finding the stocks that are up the most, maybe down the most, up the most in the last 5 minutes, down the most in the last 10 minutes, things like that. As long as you have a column header that you can click on and sort. You can also do things like create a watch list or a symbol list of the stocks that maybe you want to follow every single day. Maybe you've got a basket of stocks that you like to follow every single day. If that's the case, you create what we call a watch list, a symbol list, attach it to the top list window, and then you launch the race, and it'll only look at those stocks. Or it could be stocks that could be different stocks every day. Maybe you do some evening work, and you say, you know what, I want to follow these stocks tomorrow. And you do the same thing. So you could basically edit that list every day and launch a race on different stocks every day, if that's what you want to do. I don't, you know, this is what I want to see. So that's that. Now this race, quite different. Now the market's up. So let's see what, if I open this top list right now, but you can see right off the bat, not as many stocks as there are in this list. Why? Because I've got some filters in here. And this is on purpose, okay? I'm not upset that there's not that many stocks. Basically, these three filters right here are preventing stocks from showing up, as many stocks from showing up. Position in the day's range. I have 95 in the min. If I put 100 in there, that would mean the stock is basically at the high of the day. So at 95, it's in the top end of the day's daily candle. Okay, that's what I want to see. The float has to be at least 50 million and the market cap has to be at least 500 million. These three filters are not here. That's why there's a lot of stocks here, and that's why there's not as many. I do have a different price range and all, but it's basically those filters that are preventing. Now, this is not a static list. In other words, this is not the list for the day. You can just see how it expanded. Stocks will come, and they'll come in and out of this list too, but this is a little more dramatic. Stocks will come in and out of this list of stocks as stocks meet all those filter requirements or stop meeting the filter requirements. Okay, so this is, not a static list. So if you're starting out trading, this is probably the race I would watch instead of this one. This one is wildly exciting when you're on the right side. You get some big moves. This is just a less volatile race. It doesn't mean, you still get some movement, okay, but it usually way less volatile just because of the market cap, the minimum float. Plus, these are strong stocks. And typically the strong stocks tend to stay strong most of the day. So it's the same thing. I mean, we saw this QBTS earlier. I mean, this has just been on a massive run. Same thing though, you've got a stock and you click on the one that's leading, but you can click on any one of these. And of course, click on anything that is I should have said the same thing over here. Click on anything that has won a race before. See what's happening. So let's take a look at VSH as an example. What's happening? Well, it's still looking really strong, isn't it? It has not pulled back at all, really. Though I don't know when it won the race, but it's possible if you'd clicked on it, it may have been pulling more into the VWAP. Okay, that purple line. That might have been a sign for you. Okay, maybe I'll take this trade, put my stop just a little bit under the VWAP. In this particular case, of course, it would have worked. So, let's click on HCWB. So you don't know what you're going to see until you click on it. I know I say this every day, but it's sort of obvious, but click on these because you just don't know what you're going to see. HCWB could have been pulling back into the VWAP. You don't know until you click on it. Right now it doesn't look that great, but what if when you clicked on it, it was pulling into the VWAP and you're going to watch the VWAP and see if it acts as support. Maybe it bounces off it. So if you have any questions about the racing or anything else, trade ideas related, please don't be shy. You can ask me questions all day long. Don't feel like you're interrupting me. If I can't answer right away, I'll let you know. If it's an accounting question, that's one thing I cannot answer, but I can direct you to the people who can. Okay? So I only have maybe a little over an hour left for me today, guys, because I'll be taking off at noon. Well, I take my break. I may not take a full break. I may actually let Andy go. He's going to take over for me at 12:30. Sorry, at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So he'll be running his YouTube stream, but I may hang in the room till 12:30 myself and then take off. Okay, because I do have to leave early today. Little Forrest Gump reference. You're back again, Larby. Okay, good to see you again. So the NVTS, my only concern now is can it hold 28? So far, so good. So Willie, you can, well, what are you seeing on this screen? So are you a Trade Idea subscriber, Willie? Well, I don't trade from the opening, Saeed, so that's a tough one. I mean, you're a Trade Idea subscriber? Okay, so what you're saying, I can show, this is, if you go to my homepage. So if you go to my homepage, Click on my homepage link and then scroll down a little bit till you see my scans, okay, scan section. So this is what I'm sharing right now. So these two races, the large cap race and this race right here, okay? These are the two races that I'm sharing. And then the Hulse resumes is down here. I do have other scans that I'm currently sharing. You know, you can take a look at them, but that's what you're seeing. You're seeing these two races and the Hulse resumes. Now, Saeed, what I would be doing is, you know, I've got the pre-market actives up and down. What this, obviously, I mean, it's looking for the stocks that are up the most in the pre-market and down the most in the pre-market. Those could be the stocks that are, of course, are going to be in play for the day. Now, does it mean you take the trade right on the open? No. Well, I don't anyway. So, but you know, at least you can get some focus. Also, this race right here, the biggest gain is from the start of the race. You know, I start running this race in the pre-market, so it's already built up stocks that have won races in the pre-market. These can be the active stocks. And then if you don't want to do that, though, just wait for the race to start at 9:30 and, you know, check out the ones that is really moving. But, you know, understand that it's not just because a stock is moving right off the bat doesn't mean you just pile into it. Okay, so to do that, Ritz, right, I'm going to just open the top list here. Okay, so if you right click, now a lot of it, of course, is going to be based on your filters. But if you right click and go to time frame and then set record count, you know, I've got 50 in here. That's my max. But you know, and I want that in a race because, you know, some stock that's way down at the bottom may be really starting to move. So that's why I don't mind having 50, but you could just adjust that number to whatever you want. So you have 12, you said. So as typically it's because people, you know, are running maybe you know, for instance, if I did this, you know, show the tree map. I mean, it's so incredibly jumbled. Okay. That's typically the reason why somebody does not want to see 50 stocks. I can't, well, I'd have to expand this even if I wanted to see. So that's why usually that's the reason, you know, you set the record count. And so if I wanted 10, then when I look at the tree map, you see how it's now just 10 stocks. Okay. That's what I figured. So now you can adjust that number to whatever you want. So Willie, also, if you haven't done I don't know if you've done this already. If you haven't, it's mandatory that you take a look at the 10 videos or the 12 videos, okay? If you haven't done this already, to help get you started. You may have already done it. If you've done it, great. And this is what I'm talking about. So if you click on my homepage and then go down to the education section, click on the more info, and it's these getting started with trade ideas. There are 12 short videos. You may not have to do the login, but you know, if you haven't done this already, please do it. Okay. And again, this is good for people who don't have the program and you're wondering about it. You can start off with that second video, go to the end. I mean, that should give you an idea about whether or not it's something you might want to try. You know, trade ideas is not for everybody, but if you're an active trader, it certainly is a fabulous program. But again, the program is called Trade Ideas. Okay, it generates ideas. Not every idea is necessarily tradable. And that's why you should practice if you're getting new to not just to trade ideas, but new to trading. You know, we've got a simulator, and that's what you should be, you know, practicing trading. You know, it's in our standard service. The simulator uses our real-time data. Yeah, do yourself a favor, Willie. I mean, you know, it's a software program, and like any other software program, there's a learning curve. So what we tried to do in those videos is just cover the key elements in a fairly easy way. A Bloomberg terminal. That's funny. Well, he made a fortune selling those. Yeah, I don't go over this too often, but let me. This is a scan for. I'm not going to go. I'm not trying to go over this one right here. A lot coming in here, okay. And till we get a video on this, and this is the scan that Dan showed on Wednesday, and I can share these with you. But I mean, there's so much coming at you. But what I wanted to show people who are kind of new, if I right click on this alert window and click on configure, and then click on search, okay? So these icons represent all the real-time alerts that we've got right at the very top here, the new high and the new low of the day, the two most popular ones. But as you can see, we have a lot of other real-time alerts, lots and lots of them. And if I keep scrolling down, when I get to these icons, these are the filters that we've got. So so if you're looking at this for the first time, please don't think, man, this is way too complicated. I can't learn all these. Well, the good news is you don't have to. The reason why there are so many is when the company started in 2003, they thought that probably most people would not want to have to learn a programming language in order to create a scan. So what they said, so they thought, okay, let's try to create a lot of different real-time alerts and a lot of different filters so that if you have any trading experience at all, you could find a way to combine them to give them to give yourself the type of scan you're looking for. Okay. But the fact that there are so many, you don't have to learn them all. Okay. I have probably used 1%. I don't know. I think there are about 500 or 600 of these. I use the new high and the new low of the day as my real-time alerts, and just a handful of the filters, and that's it. The ones that I don't use doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that for my trading style, I don't need them. But your trading style may be very different. So this is what I would do. If you have any trading experience at all, yeah, I kind of cruise through all these. And if you see something, whoa, 75% pullback from highs, I understand that. Maybe I'll use that. Oh, crossed above the open. Okay, maybe I'll try that. The other thing is, and you don't have to do this for every single one, but if you see something, you're wondering, I wonder what that really means. Crossed above the open. What does that really mean? So if you right click on it left click on it to highlight it, you see how I've highlighted it, and then you click on the help. There is a detailed explanation about every one of these. Okay, every one of these. And that's why when people ask me, well, what does this filter mean, or what does that alert mean? Instead of my trying to explain it, I'm just going to tell you, go to the help, and it is a detailed explanation about everything. Okay. Now that doesn't mean, again, if you're new thinking, man, I've got to learn all. You don't have to learn them all. Okay. But if you see something that looks maybe a little bit interesting to you, sure, click on it and see what it's all about. Sector breakout from the open. All right. Help. What does it mean? And I have to give lots and lots of praise to Stephanie, who put this together a few years ago. A lot of work went into this, a lot of work. Okay. Took months. The other thing to do is, if you're wondering if we have something, for instance, you might say, well, what do these guys have? Oh, I hope I didn't shut you guys down. Ah, give me a moment, guys. I accidentally shut down the room. Okay, guys, sorry about that. You know that I accidentally shut the room down. So getting back, screen will come back in a minute. Well, less than a minute. Sorry about that. Just give me a moment as I size the room in my other on my other monitor. Okay, so where was I? I think what I was trying to do was just show. I don't know was I able to show people all the different. Sorry, all these different alerts, real time alerts, and all the filters. I can't. I don't know. I can't remember when I shut the room down accidentally. Did I go over this? I don't want to go over it again if I didn't. So what does yes mean? Did I go over them or did I shut the room down before I went over them? I went over them. Okay. I know, I think what I didn't do, I'm pretty sure. So if you're wondering though, if we have something, for instance, what do we have for RSI? So if you take an alert window and right click on it and click on configure and then click on the search. So what do we have for RSI? Well, type in RSI. That's what we have. Okay. So we have the 1, 2, 5, 50, and these are filters. So you're not going to get an RSI cross, but these are filters you can use to see stocks that, and you have a min and a max box. But if you're looking at this and thinking, yeah, but I need a 20, we don't have it. Okay, we don't have it. You have to use what we have. We try to create enough different, different scenarios, but we don't have it. What do we have for MACD? This is what we have. 5, 10, 15, 30, 60. If you need a 20, we don't have it. Okay. So that's a good way to, if you're wondering what we have for something, if we even have it at all, you just click on the search and start typing in, and you'll see what happens, what is brought up. Okay. This is my layout. Okay, Dan, this is my layout. It's not when you say when I load trade ideas every day, this is what I see. Okay. But I'm sharing everything. I have more in my layout that you can actually see. Okay. I've got a spy chart on my other. I don't share the layout because not everybody wants everything. What would you see well, I mean, you can take my scans, okay, but we also have a toolbar, or sorry, in the toolbar, if you click on new and then dock channel bar, these are all theme-based channels that are available. Okay, all theme-based channels. Click on the show more. I usually go over the sector status. So these are all theme-based channels. Okay. There's no tutoring that would help on the AI. Okay. I can show you how you can see the AI, Walter, but there's no tutoring. Nobody's going to say, well, this is what you should do exactly if you see this alert. Okay. Well, when you start Trade Ideas, you'll have a toolbar that looks like this. And then you can, if you have any, I don't know, are you brand new to trading, Dan? Dan or F9, if you're brand new to trading? Because again, okay, well then what you can do, as I was trying to explain a little earlier, is if you have any trading experience at all, you could create your own scans. Okay, you could take my scans and modify them if the scans that I've got make sense to you. So if you're using the same email that you used to sign up years ago, they could still be there as long as you save them to the cloud, your scans to the cloud, okay? Or your layout or whatever. If you save them to the cloud, now I don't know how many years ago, I don't know how many years we actually save them for you. But if you use the same email, yeah, doesn't matter. Changing computers doesn't matter. You can have Trade Ideas on as many different devices as you want, okay? You can only have Trade Ideas loaded one device at a time. But if you went out and bought a new laptop or a desktop, you load the program, but then you just go File, Load from Cloud. And as long as you save things into the cloud, you can load them on your new system, okay? And that's obviously it's a huge time saver. You can only have Trade Ideas loaded one at a time, one device at a time. So let me answer Walt for it. Okay, so this is what I would do to follow the AI. Now, do you have our premium service, Walford? Do you have our premium service? Okay, so this is what I would do. So click on New from the toolbar. Click on New from the toolbar. And then you see where I have three. That's never mind all this. I'm on a development version of the product, so don't worry about all this stuff down here. But do you see where I'm pointing at the premium AI strategy trades window? We have three that start off with premium AI. Pick the middle one, the one that says premium AI strategy trades window. Okay, click on that. And this is what should show up. Something like this. It may not be exactly like this. It depends on, I've got, these are the column headers that I'm using, but this is what you should see. Now, what I would like you to do though, first of all, have you got this loaded? Can you see this on your screen now? Okay. You see where it says filter? More than likely, profitable trades is checked. So there were 3 alerts today. If you check, if that profitable trades is checked on your end, you're only going to see 2 of them. Uncheck it. Okay. Uncheck the profitable trades. So it says none, like I have. Okay. And here's why. First of all, sometimes this actually LFS was not bad at the very beginning, but it had a big pullback, but it wasn't bad at the beginning. But what happens is, in fact, this is a great example. So look at INFQ. We had an alert. Now, for a couple things. The earliest alert you'll get with the AI is at 9:40. It doesn't mean you'll get one at 9:40. In this case, we got 2 and then one at 9:42. That's it for the day so far, okay? But that's the earliest alert you're going to get. Again, it doesn't mean you'll get one at 9:40, but that's the earliest. So it doesn't work in the pre-market, okay? Now, look what happened with the INFQ. We had an alert at 9:42, and the alert price was 17.55. What did it do from there? So that was actually pretty good from that alert. 17.55 before it pulled back at all. It looks like it got up to 18. Not bad. But look what happened. It pulled back and it hit the stop. So if you had actually, first of all, if you'd taken it at 17.55, I would hope that if you have any trading experience at all, you're not going to not take profit and let it, go all the way back down to your stop price. Okay. But if you didn't take it the first time, And a lot of people, this is how they use the AI. They don't care about the first one. Sometimes it just rips right from the beginning and never pulls back. But look what happened. It actually hit the stop. That's that 1702 you see there. That is the stop. And then it came halfway between the original alert price and the stop price. In this case, it's 1729. Halfway between 1755 and 1702 is 1729. So right there, you had an opportunity then to take this trade, maybe for the first time, maybe for the second time. Maybe you got out, made a little money, and then it's suggesting here's a re-entry for you. And so from 1729, before it pulled back at all, this got up to, there's almost $1 move. You can see how you got to manage the trade, though. You can't allow it to go all the way back down. But this is why you want to get rid of the profitable, because what the profitable is looking at, obviously, it's saying, okay, here's my alert price. If the current price is above it, it's profitable. If it's below it, it's not. You wouldn't have seen the reentry because 1729 is less than 1755. So you're not going to see the reentry. So that's why, and the company's telling me that in the next build, the default will not be to see the profitable trades. So all this kind of makes sense. And it's maybe not just for you, Walford, but others listening. You got to uncheck that because seeing that reentry, and you can see the other two have not had reentries. They don't all have reentries because they have to hit the stop and then come halfway between the original alert price. Now, the other thing is you want to. No, they will not let you. Question is, do you think trade ideas will ever? Well, ever is infinity, but no, I doubt very much. They used to, and it became a real hassle. I'm talking to Two Box in the YouTube room. Will ever let users use an API? So I don't see that happening. No. But the other thing to do is put a sound alert here. Okay, make sure you put a sound alert, and here's how you do it. You right click, because you don't want to have to necessarily be staring at this window all day long to see when you get an alert. Okay, so the whole idea of sound alerts, and it's not just for the AI, it's for alert windows. Okay, so if I right click though and go down to actions, so when I right click, a big box pops up. I click on actions. Okay, and then you check to play sound and set up the sound. So here are some options for you. You could go text to speech. You could pick a female voice or a male voice. So it'll actually read out the symbol. Okay. Well, again, they used to, but I think they're running into problems. It's not going to happen. I understand. We get the question a lot, wanting an API. It's just not going to happen. They used to, but they ran into a lot of problems, and so with the exchanges, and so it's not going to happen. And the support was off the, so it's just not going to happen. Or you could go use custom sound. Okay, you click on that and click on select sound, and here are three folders. Each one they automatically created for you. Each one of these folders, and I click on Mad Money, has a sound alert, has a sound in it. So you could left click on monkey or click on monkey, or left click on monkey to highlight it, and then you could open it, and then you could play it. And if you thought, okay, I like the monkey sound, then you would say okay a couple of times, and then it gets attached to the window. Okay, so when you hear the monkey sound, or whatever sound. So the whole idea of you have different sound alerts on your different windows. Okay, and then you get used to when you hear a sound, you know which window to look at. So that's why you don't want to have every window, with text to speech, because you'll never know which one to look at. Probably not going to happen in 1989, okay, regarding the news. I mean, our news is used for, what I call looking back in time. Probably not going to happen, though. Because again, how do you discern what is the news you want to see? I mean, companies have news all day long. What are you like? What? So in theory, you'd get even if we had it available, you'd see, oh, there's news, there's news, there's news, there's news, but not necessarily that it's something you'd necessarily want to see. Now you might say, well, I only want to see the good news. Your idea of good news and somebody else's might be different. Well, I mean, this is what I do. Okay. I mean, listen, I use Interactive Brokers. I don't know if you've got Interactive Brokers, this is what I use. Okay. Now, is it the up to date, right to the second news? No, and we would never have that. Okay. I mean, that's sort of a pay service, for the Benzinga and some of the other ones. I mean, they charge, but you know what? A lot of times what happens is you're going to see a big volume pop, and that is the news. And by the time you actually could, now I'm not saying like William has sometimes gets news ahead of the volume pop, I guess, before it really hits. But a lot of times by the time you actually have looked, like read the news, the volume, the pop is already happening. So it's not going to happen. So when you say the prices are not in sync, are you talking about the charts or what are you talking about, Willie? Okay, so give me one. Just give me one. Okay. Well, I mean, they could be like a penny off, but I mean, they're not. But give me one. Okay. I mean, sometimes our charts are off, but that's an error that we've got going in our on our servers. But most of the time, I'm looking at this one. Okay, 1785, 1785. This is for INFQ. I mean, I'm just 1786, 1786. Okay, I mean, it's 1787, 1789. I mean, it's unless you're, looking at scalping things in, 2 seconds, it shouldn't matter. I mean, we're basically bang on. But give me one that you're finding that is way out. Well, for me, the charts for me are fine. Okay, I mean, do they have everything that everybody wants in a charting program? Maybe not, but for me, the charts are fine. For me, the news is fine here. But if you want, I mean, William and others, I guess they if you want to pay for a news service, yeah, fine. But we're not going to offer that. The other thing that we do, and that I should go over this every single day. We've got a great if you click on tools and then external linking. Okay, external linking, I couldn't trade without it. Honestly, well, I couldn't do what I'm doing without it. It would be such a hassle. So what does external linking do? Notice I am linked to Interactive Brokers. This has got nothing to do with Brokerage Plus. Okay, but I'm linked to Interactive Brokers, and we can link with many brokers. I'm not talking about Brokerage Plus. But what does linking mean? It means that when I've established the link, when I click on a symbol, I click on MTVA, it loads into my order entry automatically into my Interactive Brokers platform. Okay. But we link with many brokers. So if you don't have IB, but if you've got E-Trade or Fidelity or Thinkorswim, etc., Alpaca, TradeStation, I can't tell you, if you have something and say, well, do you link to this? I may not know. The brokers don't care whether we link with them or not, but most of the time it's just a matter of sometimes a little bit of trial and error to establish the link. And once you've done it, then you know how to do it, then you can link every day. But I'm somebody who clicks on a lot of different symbols all day long. So if I looked at HYLN and I had to type it into my order entry, it'd be horrible. But I don't have to do that. So, and then from within Interactive Brokers, that's where I trade it. And I'm so used to doing it. I've had it since, over 10 years now. I'm so used to using Interactive Brokers for trading. Now, I'm so sorry. Somebody asked a long time ago about some stock. Was it PL something or other? Sorry. I thought I know I was going to get to it. Probably it's too late now. Would it be possible to share the link to Dan's scan from Wednesday? I can, okay, but don't ask me how to use it. Okay. Okay, PCLA. Okay, let me put that in, but don't ask me how to use it because we need a full video on it, to understand the ins and outs of it. Okay, but I can give you. He had 3 of them, I guess. Super low hunter above the open. That's the one I'm kind of using right now. So it's right here. Okay. Oh, you did get the others. Okay. This is and I've been looking at it, and I think in fact that's where I first found. I wonder if I'm right. Was it this one? See, he's got a bunch of them, and I obviously way too many alerts coming at me all day long right at the bat. But I think maybe I'm trying to remember where I first saw NVTS. I thought it was actually in here. I was clicking on symbols and seeing what they look like. Now there it is. That's exact. So at 950 is where I found NVTS. Okay. Now you might say, well, how why that one out of all of them? Well, I did click on a bunch of them, as they were coming in. But when I clicked on the NVTS, that's when I said, wow, okay, I like that one. Now, did I know it was going to work as well? Of course not. Okay, PCLA. I'm sorry. Let me take a look at PCLA. I may be too late for you now, but so this was So we're pulling back a lot. So we're pulling back a lot. It's still up 137%. That's right. We saw this in the pre-market. So right now, it's a big sell-off. So what was the question then? Exactly. Oh, what I at 3:45 p.m. yesterday? Oh, I don't know. Because I was long gone by then. Let's take a look at what happened here. Well, this is after hours, right? 5 o'clock. This is after hours. At the big move yesterday, but let's take a look at it. There's 4 o'clock. So there's the 3:30. Okay, that's I don't know. It's hard to know. Retrospect, you say, yeah, of course I would have, because look what happened after hours. But it's hard to say. It was fair. I mean, it was trying to hold the VWAP. 3 o'clock, it was trying to hold the VWAP. Yeah, so I probably would not have traded it at 10 o'clock. I mean, it pulled back. And, I mean, the VWAP is up here at 225. For me, it was too close to 2 also. So I'd be waiting for a 2 break. And then 225 is up here. So probably, me personally, I probably wouldn't have. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have. Because I'm always looking, a stock that's fairly close to a whole number. I'm not going to take it. And then even if it broke the whole number, it was pretty close to the VWAP. Oh yeah, of course, after hours. But could you have predicted that? That's the whole thing. I mean, we didn't know it was going to do that. Well, I am tugged in a lot. I mean, I've only had the one trade today. Okay, the NVTS. I am tugged in a lot of different directions. What I'm doing, Larby, which is fine. I mean, that's part of the why I'm here. So I cannot concentrate 100% on trading. But the NVTS is for one trade for the day has been all I need. So it's not like I'm scrambling to find anything else. And for some of you don't know, I'm in this DXYZ as a real wild card long-term swing. But to be honest, even if I weren't doing this, even before I was doing this, and I've been doing this since this as in sharing my screen and yakking at you guys since 2015, I was never somebody who was, trading 10, 20 times a day. Anyway, maybe 3 to 5 trades a day. And rarely would I have more than even one open at the same time. Rarely 2 or more than 2 at the same time. Pretty particular. Oh, I have no idea. Unusual. What it's going. I have no idea what it could. I may get rid of a lot of it just before. I know it doesn't, but I just hold on to some in case it does something absolutely crazy when the IPO comes out. But remember now, I'm in at the the $30 level. So, but I have no idea what is speculated for that. I don't know if there is any speculation. Well, they're buying it because they're. Why am I buying it? Because I know it has a little piece of the SpaceX, but what it's going to go to after the IPO. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, when it was hanging, and so that's the reason people they know it's got a little tiny piece of SpaceX. So when it was hanging around this area right here, right around here for a long time, as the SpaceX IPO is becoming more and more close, maybe the first week of June. That's why people are buying it. It's speculation. It could be one of these though that ahead. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is as high as it's going to get. And you're buying the rumor and selling the news. I mean, I have been able to carve out some profit along the way, but I have a decent chunk left in case it does something really crazy. Yeah, the XOVR is just not as. I mean, this is still up 8%. It was a lot higher when it was at 70. And the XOVR, it just doesn't seem to have the same. I mean, it's not doing badly, but you can kind of see on a monthly chart how DXYZ has really broken out. Because again, why we're talking about the XOVR along with the DXYZ is because XOVR appears to have a stake in the SpaceX IPO also. Man, oh wow, this one from yesterday, this is going crazy, but probably no volume. Yeah, not going to get too upset about it. This Gigu, Giggu, it's one of these blank check companies. But look at the volume, 30,000 shares, up 36%. I'm sure the spread is ridiculous. You know, look at that, 21, 25, 24. So it's untradeable. So don't beat yourself up and you say, man, I wish I'd got some of this. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by carving out a piece. You mean how much? I have. I think a lot of people, and I know Steve is doing the same thing. Okay, sort of have a what I guess what we call a core position that is sort of untouched, and then you've got a trading position, if that makes sense. So, for instance, yesterday, you know, I added to my position at 52, and but I took some off around the 58 mark. Steve took some off at 60, but my core position is still kind of intact. Does that make sense? Oh, I don't even know. I mean, I have no, I don't even know what the percentage is. I mean, let's pretend I bought 200 shares. I mean, which has got nothing to do with the core position. Let's pretend I bought 200 shares at $52 and offloaded them $5 later for a nice $1,000. Let's pretend. Okay. So I don't, it's not a matter of, okay, my trading, if I, and I haven't done that much of it. Really haven't traded it that much. I've kept my core position, and then when I look at some of the, I wish I'd taken a lot more when it dropped down to 40, but I didn't. Because remember, it got up to I think $70, and then it came back down to what did it do? It got up to $70, $72, and it came all the way back down to 42. And I was actually kind of waiting for 40 to see if it got down to 40, and it didn't do it. Oh, of course, it's a long term for me. I mean, I remember I'm in under $30, so around $30 average now. You know, with that core position. I'm not a swing trader. This is just a complete and utter spec trade. Okay, you see right there on the daily chart how it was hanging. You know, if I back it out, you see how long it was just sort of hanging around the 30 level. It's just a complete spec trade that is working out. Ah, it's going to be Chris today. Okay. If I'm buying it, it's just as a trade though. Again, I'm trying to say I have a core position that I don't want to get rid of, and now it's just a matter of maybe if it gets back down to the 60 level, but this is just going to be like more of the day trade type thing, or well, it depends what it does. But please, you have to don't try to follow me in this. This is just I mean, I'm lucky I'm in around the 30 level. Okay. That's why I can do all this, play around with it when maybe comes back down to 60, take a little. And if I say, let's say I took some at 60, goes to 58, I'm out. As an example, I'm not, and it's not, but again, please don't follow me in this. Okay. I mean, this is just complete spec. But meanwhile, NVTS, I still have not my entire position, but I wish I did. I wish I did have my entire, my entire position, because look at the wave. Look how beautiful it is. It's got a little fat right there and some piercings right there and a pierce right there. If I hadn't taken anything out of this one, I would have taken some off for sure there. When the bar broke down below the bottom of the wave. But this is just allowing me to keep in this trade a lot longer. Just looking visually at the wave, it's just keeping me in this in trades a lot longer. That's how I use the wave. If you don't have the wave on your chart, I can show you how if you're interested. Anybody who's interested, it's part of the standard service. It's not an add-on. And it's not for me about seeing the buy flag or the sell flags. It's just about if I get into a position and because I like the trade, regardless of whether I see a buy or sell flag. And then if I'm in the trade and then it just starts, trending like this, I just keep in. So how to add the wave, okay? This is, what time is it now? This is the bit of the challenge, okay? Depends on, first of all, if you right click on your chart, use browser interface must be checked, number one, okay? So if it's already checked, don't uncheck it. This is just a toggle on and off. Okay, so use browser interface. I'm going to go to the daily chart because it's not checked there. Okay, so I'm going to use browser interface must be checked. Now the wave appears here because I've done this before, but if you've never added the wave, it will not appear automatically. And I'm going to have to go to a larger chart. So let me duplicate this chart. The reason I'll show you why we have to have a larger chart. Okay, so I'm gonna uncheck it. So this is what your so right click your chart, use browser interface must be checked. So that's the first step. I won't go on until you tell me you got it. You're talking about the buy and sell signals on the wave. You can't yet, Frito-Lay. You can't. We don't have real time alerts on the buy and sell. Okay, do you have that? So okay meant you've got, you checked, use browser interface, it's checked. Is that what okay meant? Sorry, sometimes it's hard. So I just need another okay or a yes to let me know that you've checked it. Okay, good. Now, hopefully at the top here, you see these icons. Can you see there's a little anchor icon, and right next to the left of it, there's an icon here. That's the indicator icon. Do you see that? If you don't, okay, great. Then all you have to do is click on that, okay? And you see when you click on it, there's an option that says TI wave, and you click on it. Now, when I click on it, the wave is going to disappear because it's a toggle on and off. Okay, see how it's going to disappear? But you, doing it the first time, you click on it, and your wave should appear. Okay. Now, for those of you who may not see this, it could be because your chart is too small. See what happens when I shrink the chart? You have to have a certain size. Once you active, if you don't want the chart this size all the time, well, you have to get it so you can see the indicator, and then then you can shrink it. It's not the wave is not going to go away. Okay. Don't forget to save your work. Okay. You don't make any changes. Yeah, so auto trading did not work though, okay, for the AI free-to-lay. That's the way, if it had worked, they would have kept it up. But it was a disaster, okay? Let's call it what it was. It was a disaster to try to auto trade the AI. So that's why they made the determination a couple of years ago that they would not allow auto trading the AI. It's that simple. If it worked, then they would have kept it up. You can auto trade your own strategies if you want, back test them and all that. But believe me, if auto trading the AI was the way to go, they would have kept up with it. It's not advertised anymore. Yes, if you can find YouTube videos from before. Well, okay. I mean, I don't use the odds maker at all, free-to-lay. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying there are some who do, but the odds maker is it's a very time consuming, and just because something might work for a while doesn't mean it's going to work next week. And that's what that's why all the tweaking has to take place. But I don't back test, and I've certainly found a way to use trade ideas. So I'm happy enough to see what, get the alerts that I see. Well, then, I mean, if you're spending so much time trying to find that like the magic alert scan that is going to deliver all the time, yeah, I don't think it's going to work for you. I have not looked at RDW in that it has something to do with SpaceX. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't, but so when I bring this up, SpaceX IPO set to lift the whole space sector. So okay, it's going to lift the whole space sector, but that doesn't mean that RDW has any piece of the IPO. I'm not saying it doesn't, okay, but it makes sense. Sure, the entire space sector will be lifted, but these other ones that we're talking about, like the DXYZ, has a little piece of the IPO. Okay, so I unless you can find somewhere that it says RDW actually has a little position in the in SpaceX, then I think it's just being lifted because it's part of the sector. There is no, well, okay. There is no target, okay? This is where your trading experience has to come in. Okay, so if you bought it at that 1729 or that area, okay, it's at 1749 now. So you're making money, but there is no target. you have, the longer it holds, I would not want to hold this if it, I would probably take some off if it broke down through the VWAP, but there was no target. The new stop, which you'd never let it get down there. I mean, you're making money already, so you're not going to, but that was the new stop, 1697. Are you talking about the AI? There are no recommendations. Everybody, you got to have trading experience. There's no recommendations to get out. I would use the wave. Okay. Are you talking about the AI Frito-Lay in this particular case? Yeah. So no, there's no, I use the wave. Now the wave for this one is a little choppy, so it's a little harder to maintain a position when you get this choppiness, but maybe the longer it holds is the VWAP. Okay. But there is no target. I mean, what I'd be doing, you look left on the monthly chart, that's not a target, but that is the next high. The next high on a weekly chart is 1922. So, there's still room for it to run. But do we call that a target? I don't call it a target. I just call it, look, if we get close, that could be the end for a while. That's all. No, the AI only works for the AI alerts. You can't take QBTS and sort of plug it into a magical AI, into an AI that we've got and say, well, no, you can't do that. Don't understand when you say it never works into the odds maker. You could take a basket of stocks and attach it to your alert window and run the odds maker on that. But it's not nothing to do with the AI. Well, it will work. If you have an alert window and you take, you've got 20 or 30 stocks that you want to follow, you can backtest just on those as long as you attach the symbol list to your alert window. It'll just look at those stocks and backtest them. Okay, I don't know why it would not. Pepe, maybe help me. I don't know why it would not want to add into the odds maker. Let's say, I'm just going to do this. Just want to, out of curiosity, if I had an alert window, if I had a symbol list attached to this, there are 20 or 30 stocks that it's only tracking, and then I backtest the strategy, I don't see why it's not just going to look at those stocks. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it could, though. Understand, I haven't used the backtester in years, but well, Pepe, I'll ask Pepe first. Oh, I'll ask Chris also because I got to take off pretty soon. But so can you not backtest if I create a symbol list and attach it to an alert window? Can I not backtest on that? Just on that symbol list? Without my having to try to attach a symbol list to this thing and running it? I don't see why you couldn't, but so if I have an alert window, obviously you have to backtest from an alert window. and I create a symbol list and attach it, say 20 or 30 stocks, and I attach it to the alert window and then run the back tester on it, will it not run the back tester just on those 20 or 30 stocks that are in the, I don't see why I wouldn't. So I just don't have a, no trades return. Now that doesn't mean, it just means in that, there were no stocks that met the filter requirements, perhaps. But I agree. It may not. Maybe I don't know. Let me ask Chris this question. Well, you know what? Chris is going to be in our YouTube room in about 9 minutes. Okay. Well, you know what? First of all, I want to get rid of that. Chris is going to be there in about. It does work. Okay. Okay. Thank you. It's just that whatever I had, that like I had bank stocks or something, and maybe there's just no bank stocks that met any of the filter requirements. But Pepe just tried it and it worked. Okay, so if Pepe says it works, it works. I mean, it's just possible that I don't know how many stocks you were trying to run it on. Longer term buy recommendation from the AI would be easier to set stops. Is there a week to a long? Okay, so here's what you can do, Waltford. What time is it now? I've got to hurry. If you click on new from the toolbar, or actually no, just give me a moment. To make sure this is right here. So the long term, what do we see here? Okay. So here's the problem. These are AI alerts from well, I guess it's going to say the date right here. Okay, so if you expand the entry time, so if you go to new from the toolbar, okay, and then click on dock to channel bar, and then click on the long right up here, okay, the AI long, okay. Assuming you just want to go long, okay. This is the box that's going to pop up. These are all previous AI alerts that are above the entry price whenever that happened. So HOVR, April 27th, the alert was at 211. It's at 320 now. Okay. So these are the long terms. The problem is that these are all the ones that are above. Okay. The original alert price. What we're asking for is, can we get an alert when a symbol shows up? That's what we want. We can't do it right now. Okay, so what you can do is change from the entry. Okay, so you can see if you sort on the change from the entry price percent, you can see that Angie, okay, is at 529 right now. The entry was at 528. So you can see something that is maybe just starting to show up, if that makes sense. You know, this QC, the entry was at 1044. It's at 1047 now. Now, does it mean, okay, now, like, is this the first time it's coming back into it? I don't know. So it's sort of a way in which now it's not going to give you a target or anything like that, but at least you can have an idea about what some of the previous AI alerts were and whether and how well are they working now. And you can see the date. You know, that's the date. So if you just expand that entry time column. You know, this is just a matter of expanding it so you can see the actual date. And then I would sort on the change from the entry. You can see some stocks are like way above. Like here's GVH. You know, when was that? That was back in, I mean, that's back in March of 20, we're in 2026, March 27th. I don't know how far back it goes. In other words, you could have a stock 2 years ago that's finally, coming back into a positive position. But I would sort on the change from the entry and make it as close to zero as possible so that you're just seeing the ones that are very close to that original entry and just see how it looks, how they look. So, guys, I'm going to have to leave now, and I'll be gone for the day. I may come back for about 20 minutes, but I'm basically going to be gone for the day. Chris will take over for me in our YouTube room. And of course, Monday is a market holiday, so we'll be seeing you guys on Tuesday. So hopefully you're hearing this, Obi, okay, or William, or somebody has to close down the room. Chris is going to shut down YouTube at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to put my announcement up. Not gone quite yet, but I just have an appointment. I could not get pushed back. Oops. But my screen, my layout will still be displayed, okay? But for the day, my layout will still be displayed, okay? Until whoever's going to shut down the room. Okay, guys, so I'm just waiting for Chris to show up. Before I do that, though, I will put the YouTube link in the main room. Oh, gosh. Okay, finally. Here's the link for our YouTube room, guys. Okay, so Chris is not there quite yet. He should be there momentarily in our YouTube room. So he'll be there till 1 o'clock. So Frito-Lay, just to put, I mean, you can go into YouTube. I mean, and but Chris, I think, is going to say the same thing as Pepe. He said it should work. Is it just possible that whatever symbol list you've got, just no stocks triggered over back testing over 30 days or 60 days or whatever? Is it possible? All right, I think I heard Chris popping into the room. Okay, guys, so again, I'll be gone for the day. So have a great weekend, everybody. And of course, Monday, the market is closed. So we will see you guys on Tuesday in the main room. So I'm going to mute myself now. But again, my screen will be displayed until whoever, Obi or William, shuts down the room. Okay, Christopher.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
We're wonderful, Barry. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I do unfortunately have an appointment that I cannot get out of that I could not push back. So that's why I have to leave early. So thank you. Just while I know you know what to do, just shut down YouTube when you leave.
Yep. Got it.
Now somebody in the main room though said that it didn't seem to work, though Pepe did check it, of course.
Yeah, I checked it too.
We're talking about back testing a symbol list.
Yeah. So the only thing I can figure is that something is configured in an ill manner and giving them the trouble that they're receiving. If they pop over this way, maybe we could work through it.
Yeah. Okay. It could be Frito-Lay or maybe somebody else under another pseudonym. But anyway, thank you, Chris. Yeah, you are Chris. Yeah, Chris. I was going to say thanks, Andy, but thanks, Chris. Usually it's Andy today.
It is. It is. He helped me out this week with an appointment that I had on Monday myself. So
okay.
Off and running.
Okay, Chris.
Into the weekend, Barry. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Yeah, you bet. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. All right, everybody. So we are locked and ready to go here. Happy Friday to you all. Long holiday weekend for the markets, and at least for some people in the U.S. Can't say for everybody. And as per usual, do this as an open forum. I don't do any pre-done content for this, so rely on you folks to come with questions that you need answered on the software. Help you out the best that we can, get you some answers for all that. Of course, if you're all giving me the silent treatment, which has been kind of the way of the world lately, do my best to keep this informative and engaging. And if we're the silent treatment for the first half or so of this, then we may maybe we'll cut it early into the long weekend. Prefer not to. I like it when we're rocking, rolling, and engaging. So floor's open. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. All right, fine. You're all being shy. All right, didn't expect that. So I guess we could just tour the overall markets. Never hurts to start with an Apple chart, I suppose. Is Apple large or market cap wise makes up quite a bit of the market itself. So looking like a pretty darn healthy Apple chart right now, to say the least. Clearly a very positive reaction from earnings. Back here at the beginning of May, end of April, whatever that was. Post-market, April 30th. There we go. So very end of May, and it has been up, and away. And that is similar to what we look like on the. We'll start with the SPY representing your S&P 500. And again, this is open forum, so feel free to interrupt me at any point. So, market itself bounce after a bit of a sell-off, a little sideways action, another move up, a little sideways action going on now. Just a hair off of all-time highs right now. So looking real strong in the overall market. I would note that, volume on the decline here as we start the we get to the unofficial start of summer. I feel many people would agree with me. I think I'd even be willing to say the majority of people that have been long-term market participants would agree with me that sell in May, go away doesn't really exist anymore. There's enough retail traders and hedge funds and whatnot out there that do summer work. Without a question, it's less volume, but it is not what it was in, let's say, the 80s, 90s, or even early 2000s. Everybody's access with a million different apps and brokers and everything now. There's virtually no commissions out there outside of, your specialty brokers for things that require such fees, all adding to the life of the market through the summer compared to what it used to be. So all the same, a little tick down in volume we're seeing over the last month or so. The Qs representing the old NASDAQ here. And much of the same. My SPY chart. There we go. I knew you could do it. So there are the Qs off to the races. Consolidating up here right at all-time highs. So looking real strong there. Pretty much all over the market at this point. The Dow, I'm going to represent that with the DIA, the diamonds. That had been the lacquer. Started selling off a little earlier than the rest, didn't bounce quite as much as the rest, consolidated for longer than the rest. But today, it has decided to participate in all-time highs again. So, pretty tough to find a weak spot in the market. This is also the point where a lot of people, especially I would say newer traders, may don't have a full handle on a trading plan yet. You've got a quote easier than has been environment, get a little complacent. And, this is where being a little extra vigilant and making sure you're staying on top of things really can pay off. So IWM, I'm going to represent your small caps and your Russell 2000, also sitting real strong right now. Again, just a smidge off all-time highs, which is right there. And just holding real strong up above this 280 level. In the swing pick videos that I do weekly, and I talked ad nauseum about that 240 level, and I felt that if the IWM could really dig in and hold that 240 level on the sell-off, that would bode well for the bulls. It did turn out to be that way. Could have gone either way, obviously. I just felt people are putting money into the small caps. The small caps aren't selling, just less fear, obviously, overall on what's going on. Those are your riskier stocks. So when people are willing to put money into the more risky stocks, risky parts of the market, generally shows some confidence there. Doesn't always work that way. Definitely seen the IWM dig in before on an area where you might want to see it dig in for the bulls and then give it all up shortly thereafter. It happens that way. Again, it's open forum, folks. Don't be shy. If you got questions, get those in for me. This is not meant to be an hour of me talking at you. This is meant to be for you folks that have questions, for us to help with those questions. Get you pointed in the right direction with the software. All right. Still holding holding strong with a silent treatment on me. Fine, be that way. See what I care. Look at a few sectors here. Just go sector by sector for a little bit. And as I run out of steam, we will wind this down early, I think, as it seems to be a sleepy holiday weekend Q&A here. PWB, I never have to tell anybody or think of this. It's clean energy. Overall, this thing is a dog, though it has had a nice rebound over the last year or so. But we could see the very long term here still down nearly 50%. However, not too shabby over the last however long. I would imagine that as we go through this, we're going to come across the solars. They'll look a little better. SOXX, that's going to represent your semiconductors, and semiconductors have just been an absolute juggernaut. And you see that right here. I mean, quite the move here. Chopping around up here right now, but just absolute juggernaut. Absolute juggernaut. Unbelievable stuff. DRIV, lesser known here. This is autonomous vehicle driving. Really more look at it for fun than anything else. But also, I mean, it's one of these moments where kind of everything is working right now. See that real clear right there. XSW, it's software services here. So you would think that this would look better with the quote AI boom going on right now, but this actually is one of the dogs compared to the rest right now. Only up a smidge over the last 5 years, and down on the day or down on the year currently right now. So here's our start of 2026, and it's down quite a bit actually on 2026. So there's a dog for us. SMH also represents your semiconductor. Is going to look pretty similar to the SOXX. Not exact, but they're generally in the ballpark of each other. So again, real strong look. CLOU cloud computing. And this as well. Not you just think again, software, cloud computing with all the AI stuff going on, we'd see a bit more out of this. Nevertheless, here it is, down a good bit over the last 5 years, and probably break even on the year, maybe down a smidge on the year right now. Let's move on to the XME. It's going to be metals and mining here. That's looking strong overall, but hasn't done a whole lot recently. Nice run up here, a pullback. Couldn't quite get back up to it right now. Obviously, over 5 years, very strong. XLK, it's going to be your technology fund, and obviously that is going to look like an absolute juggernaut right now. Very similar to the semiconductors right now. Very similar look to the semiconductors. XME. We just did that. Sorry. They're juggling around on my top list there. B-Dry. What's funny is I was going through symbols yesterday on something my go-to scan there. And it was a lot of shipping, a lot of shippers on there. I was actually shocked at how many shippers I was seeing on there, to be honest. And playing out on that ETF as well. It's not a very largely traded ETF, but nevertheless, sitting up there looking, pretty strong as far as charts go. Again, over the last I won't say over the last 5 years, it's down because this has decay. It's an ETF, so that's probably bad representation right there. Lit is your lithium ion. Clean energy doing well. I have to wonder. Yeah, this looks pretty good too. Looking real good. Just kind of steady. A little pullback. Very nice looking. John, let's see what we got. Interested in your assessment of Dan's new search engine. I believe it demonstrates significant potential. Have you had the opportunity to evaluate it? No, I haven't. Dan and I have, very, very different trading styles. So I have not. Keep the questions coming. Anybody's got questions? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the way he trades doesn't work for me, unfortunately. It's, who you are as a trader is part of your personality. He likes to look for things that have pulled back or really, really sold off, and he, fishing on the bottoms. And I like to buy stocks that are going up. I don't like to fish for bottoms. It's just not who I am. So, all right, I'm going to pull up the tan chart here. That's your solars. That's looking pretty good here over the last however long. Trying to make itself a big comeback after a massive sell-off a few years ago. It was a really massive sell-off. Let's keep plugging along for now. And again, folks, floor's open. So if you have questions, get them in. I'm going to go through some charts, to fill some airtime. And if questions don't come in, I will shut down at some point here. I'm shutting down at some point regardless, but shut down a little early. Healthcare sector, stuck down here on this lower end of things right now. IHE's pharmaceuticals looking strong itself there. Who doesn't love some good drugs? Oh, keep going. RSP, it's your equally weighted S&P 500 versus cap weighted. So up there at new all-time highs, looking strong itself there. I always like, whenever people try to argue with me that it's, 5 stocks making the market go up, I love to point this chart out to them. Love to point this chart out to those people. That they're just bad at math or don't understand the market. Telecommunications, looking pretty strong itself here. Not without some gyrations recently, but all the same, the trend is up, to say the least. Yeah, we'll skip the IWM. We looked at that already. Maybe start skipping around a little bit. Industrials kind of flattish for a while here at this point. Selects your steel sector. Also looking real strong. XLUs, the Utes, utilities. What is a Ute? A lot of sideways action on that. Not surprised given what the market is doing. MDY is an equally weighted mid-cap trust. That's looking decent overall here. Not far off an all-time high. And again, don't be shy, folks. Questions. Get the questions in. Let's see. Let's skip around a little bit. So hit the XLF, your financial sector. I expect it to look a little nicer. Really hasn't bounced with the rest of the market here. Sold off, bounced, and pulling back into that level there. So that's something I'd be keeping my eye on. I want to see a healthy financial sector in a bull market, or at least I'd like to. YK's consumer staples. So after that wicked run up and fall from grace, just kind of grinding itself, trying to grind itself back higher on that. XOP is going to be your exploration of gas and oil. Had a really nice run up for obvious reasons here. Since cooled off a bit, but by no stretch of any imagination does it look weak at this point. We'll see what happens. We know where it's tied to and all that. Uranium. Uranium had itself a nice run up a bit ago here. Still sitting up there pretty comfortably, to say the least. Hasn't been able to break out, but had a good run into last year, coming into this year. So those all-time highs seem to be a challenge for it, but it's not giving up right now. It's not giving up. His search engine, I mean, sure, you could send it, you can email it to info@trade-ideas.com. I'm assuming you're talking about some scans that he built. And if you're talking about those scans, I have them. I have cloud links to the 3 scans that he was talking about on Wednesday. KRE, going to be your regional banking. That's sitting nicer overall, looking nicer than the financial sector itself. Sorry, just saw this, Sonny. How do you set the format of the time column? Mine shows it's probably your local setting in Windows. That's what I would look at. Here's what mine looks like, and I'm using, I'm in New York. I use all local US settings. So the formatting of this is likely coming from Windows. I don't think we have that in the tools options. Let me double check though here. Oh, let's see, time options. Yeah, there's no way we don't change the format isn't done here in the software itself. So you can change time zones. If you change time zones, you got to restart the software. But the your local time settings in Windows will impact your settings in Trade Ideas for time. for a number of different items. So net trade, yeah, if you wanted to send something over, I'm assuming when you say Dan search, I mean, you're talking about the scans he built. You can't post links here. Info@trade-ideas. So info@trade-ideas.com. You email it over there. Perfect. Thanks, Pepe. That's what I figured it was. I never mess with the time settings on my PC, so. But, you know, I've done enough troubleshooting with people from all over the world and see theirs all jumbled up different than what I've got going on here. So I am familiar with different time settings that are used or formats that are used around different regions of the world. Not an expert. I just know that they vary from region to regions. XRT retail. Yeah, retail not so hot, to say the least. XLB biotech. Right? No. Material, sorry. IBB is biotech. Don't mind me. Too many tickers in my brain. And again, folks have questions, pop those in, pop those in. Let's see, skipping around a little bit here. XLE, your energy sector. Looks pretty similar to the XOP right now. Bit more of a run up in this, I would say. IBB, that's going to be biotech. Biotech are looking pretty good after a lot of years of getting its butt kicked. XHB is the homies, your home builders. They're not looking so great. Not looking so good on the home building side. XLRE is real estate. That is real sideways for a real long time. Outside of that dip, real sideways. And then finally move up. Coming towards the end of things here on this list. Oh, sure. Let's look at the jets. JETS, jets, the airlines. Meh. XBI, that's going to be the other biotech. So see how similar it looks to the IBB. Yeah, they're in the ballpark of each other. Sorry, typing out an answer to someone, seeing if I can get them to come here for some help with something. And again, anybody else with questions, don't be shy. Oh, let's see. What else do we want to look at here? So we'd skip down to gold, GLD. So gold fading for a while here after just, some epic runs. Been under pressure for a while here. And XLC, communications sector. I'm stuck in this box right now. I've been such a leader for so long, too. GDX can be your gold miners. I'd have to imagine that they've been in the same route as gold itself at this point. Yeah, looking pretty similar. In the ballpark of each other. And then SIL, silver miners. Not probably looking too hot themselves. And same with SLV representing silver. So, yeah, you had some epic runs in those precious metals, and let's see where they go to next. But I am reminded now, looking at this chart, after it had pulled back into here somewhere, someone in one of these live streams asked me, do I think silver's a buy? And first, I'm never going to say I think something's a buy or not a buy, because I'm not a financial advisor, and not what I do. I just said that after something does something like that, I'm certainly not doing anything with it for a while. I'm going to let it digest and see what happens. And we can see it really hasn't done a whole lot of anything. A lot of chop where it would have, likely made you impatient or uncomfortable at this point. Would have certainly done that to me. Let's start to wrap things up here with this list. FXI, that's representing your large cap Chinese stocks. China was on the march. It was on the run. It was doing things. And just fading after that, continuing to fade, 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 fade. And it's no different here with KWEB. In fact, KWEB looks way worse. Represent your Chinese internet stocks. And so, you know, KWEB had a nice run up for a hot minute there. It's basically giving it all back at this point. So not looking real good as far as that all goes. No real comment on it because I don't know anything about China outside of where it is and whatnot. But the investors aren't a believer right now, at least. So it's funny how much you can learn from a stock chart about literally everything. We'll go last but not least, natural gas, the Widowmaker. And just on a long downslide here right now, as is its tail quite often. So, all right, still nothing coming in, still a silent treatment. I don't know, what do we do now, folks? Fill the air time for a few more minutes here before we wrap up on the day. Quite a bullish day for, you know, 30-day highs versus 30-day lows. Looking real bullish there. INFQ, what do I think? Sure, let's pull the chart. INFQ. Take your time, daily chart. So it looks like a new issue. Well, you know, trying to break out of this area here. Obviously, there's whatever. I don't know if this is initial offering or if it's a symbol change or whatever. So this area has been, you know, for the little bit of history it has been the troublemaker. Initial negative reaction to earnings that jumped right into positive at this point. I'm guessing some kind of news on it. I do not trade the news. Don't care what the news is. Never did. Never will. So yeah, you know, I think above this line, you got to feel a little bullish about it. Below that line, not so much. I would never call an area a buy or sell line, just an area of interest line, and where the bulls and the bears are going to tip their hands to. So that's what I'd be thinking with that. I will say this. For 100 and nearly 88 million in the float, stock definitely moves. Definitely likes to move for such a large float. That's my 2 cents there. Let's see what's under the profile hood. Neutral atom solutions for quantum computing, networking, sensing, and security. Products are categorized into computing, sensing, and cores. Company was founded on February 7th, 2027, and headquartered in Louisville, Colorado. Interesting. Looks like, yeah, Holly had an alert in it today. So Holly had an alert in it on this 5-minute candle here. Ran up, ran down, ran up, come down, and running sideways at this point. So we're about like at 1755. So slightly underwater, but we've had a couple of chances. Anybody that was interested in had a couple of chances to get out of it. Let's see. So breaking out long from Holly Neo there. Put a tight stop on it, given that range. Yeah, you're very welcome, Zara. It's an interesting chart. I mean, most of what I've done recently has been all surrounded around tech. I'd been in, I'm out now, but I'd been in CIFR for a while. I got out last week. All right, I'm going to pull the browser interface charts because my computer is really not liking them right now. I've got too much going on. So I got out last week on this day here. I didn't get the top on that. Somewhere in the middle of the day there, middle of that. It was the same for ALPD. Got out like 45, 45, 20, 45, 30, something like that. And CIFR, did I say that? No, Sky T, that's the other one. I did say CIFR already. Sky T, I got out. Wish I kind of held Sky T, SKYT, but I didn't. So there we are. I never re-enter right away. So, everything I'm doing is kind of tech. And why I mention that is this interests me a little bit. I like to have a longer history on charts before getting involved in something. And I certainly won't. I swing trade. So I certainly can't chase it at this point, up $7, give or take, in the last couple of trading days. But this is something I'm going to track, actually, and see what happens with it because I'm very interested right now. And, people probably think to themselves, oh, well, tech is in a big bubble. And I would say that's awesome. I freaking love bubbles. Absolutely love bubbles. Just don't be the last one in and don't be the last one out. But, I mean, bubbles are where people make the most money without a question. Yeah, so John, if you're still here, I see the email that came in. Yeah, I have those strategies. I mean, as far as optimizing goes, and you run the back tester and optimize with those. I don't have any, I won't have any special insight onto that. So yeah, before I wrap up in the next couple of minutes here, load from cloud. And these are the ones that you sent. Dan had shared them internally with us. He usually, after he shares in a live stream, he shares them with us or shares them before with us so that if anybody emails in that didn't get the link, wants it. But, there's a lot to unpack in these windows, to say the least. This is another big difference between me and Dan. Like, I would never put this many alerts into in a window. I'm a one alert person in a window. So, it's just really way out of what I do as a trader. I mean, it's way out there from what I would do. He has his way of doing things, and clearly he does well with it. Like I said, he's hunting at the low of ranges for, bounces. Here, he's hunting at the top of ranges for shorts. And this would probably be more in my wheelhouse, hunting at the top of the range. But again, these are for day trading, which I just don't do. Just not my cup of tea, day trading. So I think, you've got this here and this here are mirrors of each other. They're just kind of flipped a little bit based on how he is using those filters. Wonder if they've gotten the help pages for these done yet. Ah, yeah, looks like they got it done finally. Well, I won't say finally. It was just the filters came out before they had gotten us finished here and published. So I have to do a little studying on this to see how it all works and whatnot, as it's brand new. So you guys kind of found out about it the exact same time I found out about it. Yeah, to Pepe's comment there a bit much, I need things to be simple for my brain. My brain does not like too much at once. And I believe, John, you're looking to do like scalping, right? If I remember correctly. I believe you came into the chat yesterday around 4:30. Yeah, that was one of the things that took me a while to learn with the software is, cutting my layout way down, running just a few scans that are key to what I'm really looking for. I think that's a lot of users at the beginning, lots of scans, lots of data coming in, lots of alerts, the excitement, the buzz of it all. But I found myself, I didn't know what to do with all that data. I couldn't think fast enough and move fast enough and being pulled in all these directions. Yeah, I mean, Dan's been doing this longer than Well, a long time. I don't longer than what I don't know. You know, Dan's been doing this since like, you know, what, the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. I mean, his experience and knowledge is far superior to mine. Far superior to mine. I sometimes I wonder, he looks at a chart and I'm just curious what goes on in that brain, because he just sees things that I don't see. Like he you know, when I'm tuning into his live stream and he starts walking through things, I'm like, I get that now. But, you know, if he wasn't, you know, if I didn't have him walking me through some of it, it's just kind of going over my head. He thinks fast. He thinks real fast. Yeah, but, you know, so saying something like a strong scanner becomes subjective, right? You know, if someone had a scan and, you know, every, you know, 50% of the stocks that alerted on it got into the money by, you know, 40 cents, let's say, and 50%, you know, never got into the money. Is that a strong scanner? You know, you're 50-50 on it. You know, still got to be a trader, and, you know, things like that are subjective. You know, to me, my evening scan, it's a strong scan to me for what I do. I pick, you know, I go through this in the evenings or early pre-market, and I'm able to find, you know, some real gems that I've done well with over the years. You know, it's gone on long enough that it's not a fluke. But I've had people that have gotten the scan from me and said, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And, you know, are they right or am I right? Neither one of us are right. It's, you know, I tease, I say beauty's in the eye of the chart holder. So, all right, we approach the top of the hour here, folks. I think that will do it for me for this week. I appreciate you all being here. If you want to migrate back over to the traders room, where there's probably some, you know, active people still discussing things over there in the chat, Barry's gone for the day, so I'll be shutting down the YouTube stream in a moment here. Here is a link to the other traders room. Barry streams from both sides. We take over for an hour on this side, but there'll be no Barry coming back today. So there's the link if anybody would like to head over there, interact with the other folks that remain in that room and discuss markets and setups, scans and whatnot. So I'll give you all a few seconds to get to that link and migrate on over. And with that, I bid you all a very happy weekend. Hopefully you get a little time to relax, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.